give us your take on evaluating candidate skills and pre-employment assessments, how Greystar handles it, and what do you see some challenges and some areas of improvement?
Sure, I'm going to use the wrong term for it. There's a better term, but it's basically a psychometric evaluation, right? It's that overall, are you a good fit, and what's your acuity, and maybe yeah, the fluff as you called it. And I think those are valuable. And I've been through a ton of them. I don't think I came out as a serial killer or anything. They usually hired me. But I'm with you. I think hard skills assessment is important for what we do, and we don't do those right now. And I'm honestly, we're looking at bringing those back. I can't say for sure, but it's part of our maintenance leveling project that I spoke to earlier. You have to be careful, because I think the reason we went away from it's because of all the legalities, all the claims. Basically, in fair enough, you really have to make sure if you're hiring someone, everyone goes under the same scrutiny, right? So, and maybe you have different tests for different roles, but I think if you're hiring a technician, every technician has to have the opportunity to take that test. If you wind up hiring someone else and they didn't take the test, then that becomes an unfair practice, and that's where you leave yourself open to liability.
Everybody lies. Everybody can do everything. Everybody can do whatever we ask them to do until you actually put them to the test. So instead of placing members on sites right off the bat, I place them on our floating team, and then I can actually test their skill set without having them sacrifice a site position. And this way I get to test them, because everybody can change that light bulb until you've asked them to change the light bulb, and then all of a sudden, they can't do it. Or everybody can paint the wall, but they're the guy with the two left hands that only can use the right-handed paintbrush. So this also allows me to perform that out a lot quicker from a human resources point of view, because with my assets, I have assets that are spread 200 miles apart. I've got hours for you that's 100 miles away from here, and that no, I'm not going to reimburse you for mileage. This is how I'm able to perform them out when they're not capable of doing what we need them to do. Even passing the tests, if you want to call them, or the assessments that they do online in the hiring process, that they can Google all that stuff and they can get the right answers to the test. And until you put them into the field, that's when they fail. Also, understanding the talent pool that we're dealing with. We're dealing with a very shallow talent pool these days, where everybody drops keys when they get upset, or if they get offended, or they get their feelings hurt. So doing these physical assessments is better for me not to be involved, rather than one of my senior maintenance supervisors who actually works on site on a regular basis and can assess them in real life experiences. When the feeder's at the fire, and when we have to do it, rather than when, for me at my level over in Colorado, they're going to be intimidated, they're going to be nervous, they're going to make mistakes. Where if it's one of my senior maintenance supervisors, they may be more calm and ask more questions, because they're more comfortable in that scenario.
Yeah, and let's be honest, all things being equal, at the end of the day, you can't take the gut instinct out of a hire, right? It's going to come down to that.
Yeah.
And I'm just talking about this, all things being equal. If we have something that says, hey, here's how we're going to train you to interview, and you're going to go do this, then that becomes more of a expected requirement and becomes part of the process.
So to me, and some of you guys are, sort of at a 30,000 foot view, and I'm maybe down here at 5 or 10,000. So, but sort of from my perspective, one thing that I've seen even is where, the maintenance tech or maintenance supervisor, it might be clear that, he has sort of relative industry experience in construction, or, electrical background or a plumbing background. And he maybe could do most of the work, but the technology piece, because let's face it, the technology, it's just going to get more and more techy as we move forward. So one thing that I have done, and I've only done it a couple times when I was when I was right on the fence of like, I'm not totally sure between these two final candidates, and just like I would just like to have one more piece to sort of like distinguish one away from the other. And one thing I've done on a virtual call like this in Teams, for example, is sort of granted them permission on the call and had them just sort of show me through, like, so I could watch them maneuver through their email or through sharing a screen, and just sort of see how fluid they are at it. Because to what you were just saying, it's they might have one facet of, you know, the big picture locked down, and they're really, really great at it. But it's just like, you know, as we all know, there's multiple layers that you need to sort of have a grip on all of them in order to be, you know, successful at all.
At this stage of the game, we have to do everything in our possibility to retain the talent that we have, you know, and I think we're missing the boat on that opportunity left and right. And so that would be my soapbox to stand on.